Hey there, Facebook family. How you doing today? I'm Connie Fuchsa with Foote Title Group. Hope you're having a great start to your Tuesday morning. So, a lot of times I like to try to talk to you about things that we see that happen to try to help you understand better how to deal with things, how real estate is going to, how different processes in the real estate process is going to help you understand what is happening, to help you process better how to deal with something that may come up. And just to give you some information, or maybe you know somebody who might be looking into selling property or buying property and maybe have some questions. Hey, so does that plant look like it's growing out of the back of my head on the side over here? Should I move that? Hey, Pam, how are you this morning? Hey, Jeff, how are you today? So let me move this plant first. I feel like it looks like it's growing out the back of my head. How's that? Better? Better. I think it looks better. Hopefully you think so too. So, I try to talk about things that help you understand what to do when you're buying or selling a piece of property. Also, some things that maybe have come up and through the process that we deal with. So when I run across things that maybe information that could be helpful to you or experiences that we have, I like to share those. I always ask you, if you are experiencing something, you have a question, something you don't understand, maybe somebody's brought something to your attention, please totally reach out to me, ask any questions that you have. Good morning, Jeff. Top of the morning to you. Hey, thanks, Pam. I appreciate it. I think the plant being over on the other side looks a little bit better. It doesn't look like it's sticking out of the side of my head anymore. So, so if you run across questions, you have things you don't understand, you have things that maybe something I talked about spurred a question, please reach out and ask me. You can do it personally, do a private message if you want. You can call me. You can ask right through the stream. I really appreciate those questions, because if you don't share, I don't know what you don't know, and I don't know what to talk about to help you. And if I'm talking about something that helps you, more than likely it's going to help somebody else as well. And that's exactly what I want to do. That's why we get on Tuesdays and Thursdays to talk to you with Coffee with Connie. So hope you guys are having an awesome start to your day. If you are on live with us, please check in. Let me know that you're on, as Pam and Jeff have done. I really appreciate that. Nice to see you guys this morning, and thank you all so much for your time. I realize how valuable it is, and I really appreciate you taking the time to listen and send me some feedback. So if you're tuning in on the replay, please also check in. I really appreciate knowing that you've taken the time to watch and that you found some value in the things we're talking about. And the other thing I'll ask you is please share the information. If you maybe found some value in what we're talking about, more than likely somebody you know will find value as well. And I can't talk to those people because I don't know the people that you know. So if you share it, that'll help me a whole lot. So hopefully you guys are having a great day. I know here on the East Coast it's a little crazy. The weather's a little bit cold and rainy, but we need those sometimes to make things grow. So hopefully during the week is when we have those kind of weather events. So on the weekends we can enjoy them a little bit better. So I wanted to talk to you this morning about an experience that we had come up. When people own a piece of property with other people, sometimes there are some misunderstandings between those people about what they want to do with the proceeds. And so, you may own a piece of property with a brother, a sister, parents, boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, previous spouse, spouse now. Maybe, usually with spouses, they pretty much have their plans together. But if it's somebody that you don't have a full-time relationship with, or maybe things, the relationship has changed, maybe the way that you think you're going to spend those funds after you receive those from closing is a little different from the other person. So recently we had an experience where we had two brothers who owned a piece of property together. The one brother thought that they totally were on the same page about how they were going to split the proceeds between them. The other brother had a totally different plan in mind. And so when we finished the closing and we talked to them about what they wanted to do, because we need to have them sign something, and they found this a little odd, but we need to, as we do with all the documents in a closing and through the mortgage process and the real estate process, is we have to document things that happen, so that we make sure that there's no confusion, so everybody knows what's going on, and later if anybody has any questions, we're able to provide some documentation to prove what conversations had taken place. So even though you may have a verbal conversation with somebody through the process, more than likely it's going to be reduced to writing to make sure that later, after the process has taken place, if anyone has a question, that information can be produced and verified that that's how you wanted everything to happen. So after this particular closing, we had two brothers that were sellers on a piece of property, and I think both of them had an idea of how those proceeds were supposed to be split. And so the money that they received from closing after the property was sold, all the bills were paid, the mortgage was paid off, one of them thought that they were supposed to split the proceeds 50-50 and that they each had an equal amount of interest in that property. The other one thought that it was supposed to be a different split. And so when we asked them to sign a document explaining to us, telling us exactly what they wanted to do as far as the split, we found out that the two ideas that the two of them had were way different in a totally different spectrum. And so obviously that became a little bit uncomfortable when we had that issue, because we are now put in a position to try to navigate through them what needs to be done. Now, the one thing I'm going to tell you is most people in our industry are not going to make those decisions. It's not our place to try to mediate between the two parties on how that's supposed to take place, on how and the agreement should happen, or what you should do with the proceeds, or how that should be done. So in this particular case, since they didn't agree, they would not sign a piece of paper that we had that confirmed how they wanted to split those proceeds. So we had one party on one side who was very specific about how he thought that the proceeds were supposed to be split, and then another one who had some very adamant concerns about how he thought the proceeds were supposed to be split. That puts us in a position to provide them with a check with both of their names on it and leave it to them to decide how they're going to split it. Now, obviously, the one brother understood, paid attention. It made a lot of sense why it had to be done that way, and he's trying to work with the other brother to get that resolved so they both sign the check, so they both make that decision. The other brother was absolutely adamant that he didn't like the way that we had handled that, and that he wanted us to split those proceeds in half. Well, we absolutely are not in a position to make that call for you, and if you don't come to us, one, with either some agreement that explains how those proceeds are going to be split, then we're going to ask you to sign what we call a split proceeds agreement, which really just explains to us exactly how you want to split those proceeds so that we have that documentation in there. So in this particular case, since they wouldn't agree, we gave them one check with both of their names on it, and now they're set to have this discussion and figure it out between them. Not the most comfortable thing when you have those two people on either side, not in a happy spot. Unfortunately, that's the only way that we can handle it. We're not in a position, we aren't there, either one of their attorneys, to try to negotiate it, and we're not in a position, unfortunately, to help you negotiate those types of disagreements between parties. Good morning, Allison. Hey, Kathy, how are you today? Thanks for tuning in, guys. I appreciate it. So if you're going to be selling a piece of property with someone else, my recommendation is to have a discussion with that person. Just because you think you know what the other person that you may own the property with, how they intend, or what their concerns are, how they intend to expect the proceeds to be dispersed, you want to make sure that before you come to the table that everybody understands it. And let me tell you, this is not the first time that this has happened with us. We had a couple that had split, and they had different ideas on how that was done, and they weren't a married couple, they were a boyfriend and girlfriend couple, so they didn't have a specific divorce agreement or something that was a legal binding agreement on how those proceeds were going to be split. And usually that's where we see this. So if you have parties involved that maybe don't have that marital interest, then with a divorce decree or something such as that the court has established or that you've agreed to. So this is a similar kind of scenario. If you have more than one individual owns a piece of property that isn't a married couple that's getting divorced, then you need to sit down and talk about, hey, I just wanted to make sure that you thought that this was supposed to be this way. So when we get to the closing, that this is all worked out and we make sure that everybody gets what they expected to get, and that everybody's happy and things are taken care of and finished up at the closing. If we have that direction, that's signed by both of those parties, we're happy to split it and take care of getting that money anywhere that you expected it to be. But if you don't have that agreement already in place, and it doesn't have to be in writing, but you have to make sure that you're both on the same page, or all three of you, or all five of you, or all 10 of you, however many people there is, you have to make sure you're all on the same page. And if that's the case, then we can take care of whatever that is for you. I mean, we've done closings where there's 5 or 6 brothers and sisters that out of an estate that are getting a split, and we again have them sign an agreement saying this is how we want to split the funds up. So what I'm recommending is that before you come to the closing, also so you're not embarrassed in front of other people having this discussion and maybe disagreement, make sure that everybody that is selling that property is on the same page about exactly how they want to split their proceeds, so that 1, we can take care of that for you at the closing, and 2, that you're not put in a position where you're having to have this discussion in front of everybody else, because it's absolutely not a spot that we want to be in, or that we want you to be in and be in an uncomfortable situation. So we can't moderate that for you, and all we can do is recommend that you talk about it beforehand so that we can take care of it for you. So just a quick little shot this morning, Coffee with Connie, on splitting proceeds, because as I said, I like to talk about things that are relevant and things that come up that we see going on. Good morning, Phil. How are you today? And I also would appreciate it if you guys see things coming up that you want us to talk about that I can help you with. That really helps us as well. At the end of last week, we talked about estates, and I had several people reach out to me afterwards about questions that they had and things that we could direct them on. So we would love to help you with that kind of information, not necessarily estates, but whatever kind of questions you may have with respect to the sale or purchase of real estate and how the closing is involved and what processes those are. I don't do mortgages and I don't sell real estate, but I have a lot of professionals that I work with that have a lot of good information that we can direct you to, or that we can get questions answered if they aren't questions that I can necessarily answer. I have been in this business for 30 years, so I've seen a lot of different things. So sometimes that gives me the ability to maybe express some things that I've seen that might help you understand the process a little bit better. Our passion is to make sure that the process is simple, easy to understand, and that you have a good time, because buying your house should be a fun, exciting experience. So we want to make sure that that's the way your process goes. And it is our ultimate goal to make sure that you and your home are protected when you walk away from that closing table. So we protect home ownership. And hopefully you got a little information today, and that I was able to help you with a little bit of something that maybe you didn't know, or that you can share with someone else. As I said before, sharing is caring. So if you would please click the share button at the bottom to share with everybody you know, because there might be somebody out there that needs this information. If you want to make sure that you don't miss a episode of Coffee with Connie, click the follow button on the bottom. That'll let you know whenever we're online, so that you can actually get on and follow us whenever you want to get some more information that we're able to share with you. So hopefully that helped you a little bit today. Hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day. I really appreciate your time. I know how valuable it is. I'm Connie Foote with Foote Title Group, where we protect your home ownership. Have a great one, guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.